You're a summoner? That's the weakest class in the world. The moment Lin Xiao awakened his class, everyone laughed at him. His rival called him trash. No team wanted him. No one believed he could clear a dungeon. Even a normal combat class was considered better than becoming a summoner. But they had no idea. Lin Xiao had awakened a unique S-tier talent. A talent so powerful that nobody else in the world could ever obtain it. Every single day, he gains a brand new S-rank talent. His first summon was just a tiny skeleton. Weak, pathetic, worthless. But after receiving an S-rank talent, it evolved into a terrifying Death Knight. A monster capable of slaughtering entire armies. Then his slime gained the power of endless evolution through devouring. His goblin became a master of legendary weapons. And that was only the beginning. While other people struggled to make one summon stronger, Lin Xiao gave countless S-rank talents to all of his summons. Every day they evolved. Every day they grew stronger. Every day they became more terrifying. Geniuses, prodigies, heroes, none of them could even defeat his weakest summon. Then the abyss descended upon the world. Demon gods appeared. Ancient monsters awakened. Even the gods themselves looked down upon humanity. But when humanity stood on the edge of extinction, one man stepped forward. Behind him stood an army powerful enough to shake heaven and earth. An army of death knights, ancient beasts, divine creatures, and beings powerful enough to rival gods. The world finally realized one terrifying truth. The strongest army was never an army. The strongest kingdom was never a kingdom. It was one summoner, and his summons. This is the story of Lin Xiao, the summoner who turned the weakest class into the strongest existence in the world. Week 1 8-hour video will be uploaded. All novels uploaded here are completed, so you will get a full story without searching or waiting. I have listened to the translated version on web, and there are no major problems with translation. If you want Chinese novel translated, give me the original name of the novel and I will respond to your request as soon as possible. Please make sure your request is on the latest video. If you hear this "u" sound in the novel, it means either question mark or some space is left, like getting materials or experience gain there more but not shown. If after a name is used and after there is silence, it means exclamation marks were used as in shock. I don't know if this will happen in recorded one, but it happened in web version. Chapter 387, 20 minutes later. The two abyssal demons were easily defeated, and Lin Xiao's level reached 65. Just as he was counting his spoils, a cry of an eagle came from the sky. He looked up and saw that it was the male eagle. "You're still following us?" Lin Xiao was surprised. The male eagle, seemingly familiar with Lin Xiao, wasn't afraid of her at all. It picked up the carcass, moved it aside, and began to eat it. "I ran all the way from over there to over here, and you still managed to find me." Lin Xiao couldn't argue with him. He felt that this guy was following him just to get free food. With that thought in mind, Lin Xiao threw out the corpse of the tiger-headed demon. Startled by this sudden action, the male eagle hurriedly flew away. After seeing what it was, it fluttered back, picked up the tiger-headed demon's corpse, and then devoured the remaining snake-headed demon. Lin Xiao ignored it, feeling that the guy meant her no harm and was just looking for a bite to eat. "I'm level 65 now. That beast-taming egg should be able to hatch." Lin Xiao took out the reward she received for clearing the Netherworld Train a dungeon, the Netherworld Egg. After hatching learning, you will randomly obtain a summoned beast. Huh? It's a Netherworld Egg. There really are these things. Is this the Netherworld Egg? It's all purplish-black. Could it be spoiled? Wow! Would it taste good to make a boiled egg with such a big egg? Upon seeing the Netherworld Egg in Lin Xiao's hand, the calamity spirits reappeared and began chattering incessantly. Lin Xiao quickly interrupted them, You know about this netherworld egg? I know. It's the egg of the god of the underworld. Idiot. How could the god of the underworld lay eggs? This is the god of the underworld's pet. Who says the god of the underworld can't lay eggs? They're called netherworld eggs, so he must have laid them. He is human, and humans don't lay eggs. How do you know it's a human? It's just that the stone statue looks like a human. This egg was laid by him. You're a fool for beating me too. As they were talking, the two calamity spirits started fighting. It's more like they're merging together, then separating again in a recurring cycle. That's probably what their fighting is all about. Lin Xiao ignored them and looked at the netherworld egg in his hand, certain that it must be related to the god of the underworld. Whether it was the work of the god of the underworld is unclear, but he is more inclined to believe that it was the god of the underworld's pet. Regardless, Lin Xiao's expectations for the netherworld egg rose even higher. Incubation. The netherworld egg in Lin Xiao's hand trembled slightly, followed by a soft cracking sound. A crack appeared in the middle of the eggshell and began to spread outwards. With a bang, the eggshell was pushed open, and the little guy poked his head out, curiously looking at the new world around him. Lin Xiao removed the eggshell from its head, then pinched the back of its neck with 2 fingers and lifted it up. The little guy was so frightened by this sudden action that its limbs scrambled wildly in midair. It was only the size of a palm, with dark purple skin, and shaped like a small fire dragon. Nether beast. Quality, mythical. Level 1. Talents. Abyss of the Underworld, SSS. Underworld Constitution, SSS. Description. An unknown summoned beast hatched from a ghost egg, said to possess considerable power. 2 SSS rank talents, not bad. Let's see how strong you are after we've nurtured you. Lin Xiao put the little guy back on the eggshell, and Nether Beast immediately hid its body inside the eggshell. After a while, it poked its little head out and bared its teeth at Lin Xiao. Ha! What a tiny little guy. It's only the size of a fist. Is it really the pet of the god of the underworld? 2 calamity spirits curiously gathered around the nether beast, observing it and occasionally offering their comments. They just haven't grown up yet. Lin Xiao used his right hand to drive away the 2 calamity spirits, preparing to recall the nether beast to his summoning space. We'll kill a few abyss monsters later to level it up first. Seemingly sensing that Lin Xiao was about to recall it to the summoning space, it quickly shook its head, then ran out of its eggshell and scurried up Lin Xiao's arm to the top of his head. Awoo! 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 Nether beast perched on Lin Xiao's head, looking like it didn't want to go back. Alright, you've just been born. It's not good for you to stay in the summoning space all the time. Let's see the outside world first. Since it was unwilling, Lin Xiao remained very democratic and did not force it to go back. You stay up there. If you spot any enemies, remember to call me. Ah! After resolving all of this, Lin Xiao followed Netherworld guidance to the location of the Equilibrium Flower Seed. In a place far away from Lin Xiao, the dog-headed demon's originally calm expression gradually turned horrified, because he discovered that the flavors of the rabbit head and snake head had been lost. After their scents blended with Lin Xiao's, their scents quickly dissipated in less than half an hour. He then knew that the rabbit head and the snake head were dead, less than half an hour later. Impossible. How could he be so strong? Could it be that he really killed the ox-head demon? The dog-headed demon was horrified, but no matter what, he had to report this news to the adults. And most importantly, this human had actually walked up to the adult. He was afraid that this would ruin the adult's plans. He sprinted towards the adult's location, but at that moment, a sense of fear suddenly arose in his heart. In less than a second, the dog-headed demon stood frozen in terror, not daring to move an inch. That sleek, human-like thing, isn't that woman's abyssal demon? A voice came from the sky. The dog-headed demon used all its strength to suddenly raise its head, its pupils shrinking as it saw an unbelievable figure. Grand Duke of Fear. Yes, one of the 3 archdemon of the abyss. It's that woman's. So, she really did come for those 3 doors. I vaguely sensed her when I came here, but I didn't know if it was real. Now I can confirm that she is indeed here, and she is heading towards the 3rd door. It seems that she really has a way to obtain the power inside the stone statue. Humph. Then we'll wait for her at the 3rd gate, and the power of those 2 stone statues will surely belong to us. The dog-headed demon was so shocked that he couldn't speak. Not only the Grand Duke of Fear, but also the Grand Duke Zhou Yuan and the Grand Duke of Nightmare Demon came. All 3 dukes have come. My lord, my lord. The dog-headed demon kept calling out in its heart, wanting to tell its master the news, but its body could not move an inch as it was firmly suppressed by the 3 archdukes of demons. Watching them leave, the dog-headed demon thought of reporting the news, but before he could take a single step, his body collapsed, his face filled with terror, and his corpse began to rot and stink. Until his death, he was still calling out the word adult. Chapter 388. On the other side, the woman crossed the Abyss Great Canyon and arrived at the other end. Upon arriving, Rat-Headed Demon sensed something was amiss and immediately reported, "My lord, I smell something different. It seems to be the cursed power of Grand Duke Zhou Yuan." "Not only Grand Duke Zhou Yuan," the woman replied indifferently. "Grand Duke of Fear and Grand Duke of Nightmare Demon are also here. They're gonna block me at the 3rd door." After the 3 archdukes of Hell set out, she received a message from the monkey-headed demon. She was not surprised by this. She had concealed her whereabouts very well, but being discovered was within her expectations. Then, sir, Rat-Headed Demon couldn't understand why, since the 3 archdukes of Hell were still there, the master insisted on going there. "Could it be that you, sir, are now comparable to the 3 archdukes of Hell?" He felt it was unlikely. The woman did not respond and continued walking forward. At this moment, Rat-Headed Demon said again, "Should we notify our chief? With him around, even if something unexpected happens, we can get out unscathed." "No need. Who will be the prey? It's not certain yet." After killing several abyss monsters, the nether beast leveled up rapidly, reaching level 40 in the blink of an eye. It has grown quite a bit in size, now about the size of 2 palms. The abyss monsters that were killed naturally became its food, and it ate them happily. The only one who was unhappy was the male eagle. It was furious to see the little eagle stealing its food, but there was nothing it could do. The male eagle stared intently at the nether beast as it ate. Suddenly, it seemed to sense something, immediately spread its wings, and flew away as fast as a sword, disappearing in the blink of an eye. What happened? Lin Xiao was a little surprised to see the male eagle run away. When there's food, this guy won't run away even if she chases him. But now, before Lin Xiao could figure it out, he already knew the reason. An invisible aura of fear crept in, and the marketing team reacted swiftly, immediately recalling the nether beast to their summoning space and finding a place to hide. Soon, Lin Xiao saw 3 huge figures fly overhead. Abyssal Eye immediately captured their information. Grand Duke of Fear, Grand Duke Zhou Yuan, Grand Duke of Nightmare Demon. Lin Xiao was completely stunned. She stared at the information in front of her and checked it several times before realizing that it really was them. What the hell? Why are all 3 Archdukes of Hell from the Abyss here, causing trouble across the way? Lin Xiao was completely devastated. Archduke of Demons is a top-tier fighter and a top-level boss in the Abyss. Now, the 3 of them have gathered in Abyss Great Canyon, and they even came together. Feels like the world has changed. What could possibly get the 3 of them to team up? Don't those 3 dislike each other? How did they end up teaming up? Lin Xiao was getting a little frantic. They came, but the problem is that the direction they were heading was exactly the direction I was going to go. Wait, could they be here for the 3rd visit? No, it should be to prevent him from obtaining the power of the stone statue in the 3rd door. Lin Xiao was immediately confused. However, there was still one thing he couldn't understand. Why did the location of the equilibrium flower seed require passing through these 3 doors? It is certain that her goals are not aligned with her own. The location where the equilibrium flower seed grows makes him suspicious again. Did you see that? It's Sa, Yun, and Yan all appearing together. I see it. I see it. I'm not blind. The power of the stone statue must have been taken away by them. But they don't seem like the type to gain the power of the stone statue. Lin Xiao gleaned important information from the conversation among the calamity spirits. Lin Xiao, are you saying that the 3 Archdukes of Hell also gained the power of the stone statue? Yes, my intuition is never wrong. On second thought, it's not surprising that the Archduke of Demons obtained the power of the stone statue. After all, he was a top-tier fighter in the Abyss. But now the 3 of them have come together and are heading to Abyss Great Canyon to stop her from gaining the power of the stone statue, etc. Lin Xiao suddenly realized something and asked the calamity spirit beside her. You said there were 9 stone statues? Now there are only 3 left. Does that mean one of them can possess the power of multiple different gods? It's not 3. It's that there's only 1 left. Right? Lin Xiao. Okay. So one person can possess the power of multiple gods? He felt it was unlikely. But if it was impossible, why would she collect these mysterious powers? Could it be that they intend to cultivate the Archduke of Demons and make him part of their own faction? That's even more absurd. No. A person can only possess the power of one god. Exactly. You've already gained divine power and you don't even know that. You idiot. You're the idiot. You clearly don't understand what he means. He's asking whether these 9 stone statues come from the same god. Are the powers of these 9 stone statues shared by the same deity? Lin Xiao was taken aback. I had received some terrible news. You're the idiot. That's not what he meant at all. It's obvious. Don't you know that adults love to speak with hidden meanings? No, that's not it. That is. No, that's not it. That's what I mean. Lin Xiao quickly interrupted their argument. Otherwise they could have argued for at least half an hour. See, I told you so. Calamity Spirit was quite pleased with himself for guessing Lin Xiao's hidden meaning. So the power of these 9 stone statues actually comes from the same deity? Lin Xiao asked, confirming. Yes, but not entirely. The power of the 9 stone statues is merely the evil side of that god, not a god in the traditional sense. Lin Xiao was shocked and quickly asked, the evil side? That means it's only half, right? Upon receiving an affirmative answer, Lin Xiao was shocked. If the evil side of a god alone has given rise to 9 gods, then if they were to merge together and combine with the other side, wouldn't this god be terrifyingly powerful? Is it Supreme Being? In the hidden dungeon of heavenly regret, he learned about the realm of Supreme Divinity. Supreme Being. He didn't know how strong Supreme Being was, but there's only one in the entire great universe, which shows how prestigious he is. So, the Supreme Being is actually dead? Lin Xiao couldn't help but become suspicious. Some say he is not dead, while others say he is dead. Lin Xiao now leans more towards the latter. Did the 3 archdukes of hell come here to stop her from obtaining the power of the final stone statue? So she's already got 6 types? Thinking of this, Lin Xiao quickly confirmed with Calamity Spirit. If someone obtains 9 divine powers, can they fuse them together? No, this is only half. It can't be fully integrated. Yes, if they were to merge, it would explode with a bang. Chapter 389. Lin Xiao had encountered a very tricky problem. He could not get past. The 3 archdukes of demons of the abyss were gathered ahead, and she was also rushing here from behind. Should I tell her the news? Lin Xiao hesitated. Although his mother had already been demonized, she still retained a sliver of consciousness when they met before. If she died here, the human-demon secret elixir that had been concocted would also lose its effect. But going directly to tell her carried a certain risk, because it was unclear how much of her humanity she retained. She might attack the moment she saw him, as she now possessed the strength of an archduke of demons. He was conflicted. Perhaps she was already prepared. Lin Xiao thought of his mother in his memories. She was not a reckless person. After reconfirming the route to the equilibrium flower seed and seeing that it pointed exactly in the direction of the 3rd door, Lin Xiao could not help but scratch his head. How could an equilibrium flower seed grow in such a place? Perhaps I should avoid their edge for now, wait until they have finished fighting over it, and then go search for the equilibrium flower seed. There is no need to be stubborn and compete with them. His strength was too weak right now, he could not compete at all, and there was no way for him to compete. Seeing Lin Xiao's melancholic expression, a calamity spirit spoke up. Aren't you going to move? The 3 of them have already gone over. If you go too late, you won't get anything. Lin Xiao was speechless. What would I do if I went over? Throw my life away. Don't you want the power of the stone statue anymore? That's right, it's the last one. If someone else takes it, it will be gone. Lin Xiao shrugged. I didn't come here for that in the first place. I came for the equilibrium flower seed. Equilibrium flower seed? What is that? Idiot, an equilibrium flower seed is just an equilibrium flower seed. That black and white thing. Oh, that thing doesn't taste good. What do you need it for? Listening to their conversation, Lin Xiao was stunned and quickly asked, You have seen the equilibrium flower seed? Where? Netherworld guidance had pointed out the location of the equilibrium flower seed, but now the road was blocked. He was fretting over what to do, never expecting to hear news about the equilibrium flower seed from the calamity spirit. Not only had they seen it, but they had even eaten it. Where is that thing? Do you know? How would I know? I ate it a long time ago and forgot. You 2 idiots. The equilibrium flower seed is right in the middle. Lin Xiao immediately caught the important information. In the middle? In the middle of where? The Abyss Great Canyon. Ah? I think so. I don't remember very clearly. I only remember it was in the middle. Oh, right, that location happens to have a view of the stone doors. Oh, I remember too. Can you see 9 stone doors from the middle? But later, I don't know what happened, you couldn't see them from that place anymore, and then we never went there again. That's right, I remember too. Lin Xiao quickly synthesized the information from the calamity spirits and analyzed it. Assuming the middle they mentioned was the center of the Abyss Great Canyon, and that location could see the 9 stone doors, Lin Xiao quickly checked the Netherworld guidance, looked back at the previous location of the Pluto god statue, and then look toward the location of the Calamity Stone statue. The location of the last stone statue is here. Although the locations of the other 6 are unclear, if they form a circle, then the middle they mention should be here. Lin Xiao immediately marked the location. It was over a body of water. This is just my guess. The information is insufficient. Lin Xiao pondered for a while and decided to go and see, because he could not go to the front anymore. If they started fighting, the aftershocks of the battle would likely shake him to death. After making his decision, Lin Xiao immediately turned back. On the way, sensing someone approaching, he did not hesitate to dive into the rotting, foul-smelling mud, hiding his figure and aura. It was not until half an hour later that Lin Xiao crawled out. Finally, he summoned the 9-tailed celestial fox, switched her to the water attribute, and released water orbs to clean his body. You are so afraid of her that you have to hide in such a smelly place. Exactly. It's just a woman. Even at Calamity, she hides and doesn't dare to come out. Ha ha ha. Coward. Listening to their mockery, Lin Xiao's fist involuntarily clenched hard. Shut up. The Calamity spirits immediately stopped talking. He returned to the cavern where the Calamity Stone statue was located, passed through the tunnel, returned to the location of the Pluto god statue, and passed through here again to return to the spot where he had just entered the stone door. Although it was a bit of a detour, this was undoubtedly the safest way. He was separated from those archdukes of demons by more than half the Abyss Great Canyon. Whatever movements he made here, they likely would not notice. All right, it's time to go to the waters of the Abyss Great Canyon. No longer paying attention to the direction of the Netherworld guidance, Lin Xiao headed directly toward the highest point. Half an hour later, amidst the exclamations of surprise and chattering of the Calamity spirits, Lin Xiao arrived at the highest point of the Abyss Great Canyon. Or so he thought. Looking down from above, he saw a river. Following the direction of the river, he saw a huge lake in the distance. Is the middle location you mentioned over there? Lin Xiao pointed to the lake waters in the distance and asked. Don't know, haven't been there in a long time. Yes, forgot about it long ago. We only remember the approximate location. The Calamity spirits chimed in one after another. Since he did not know, he would just have to go there once to find out. Lin Xiao had a strong feeling that it must be that place. He retracted the Death God Knight into the summoning space, summoned the 9-tailed celestial fox, and transformed her into a giant fox. Lin Xiao immediately mounted her and then had her fly toward that lake area. The 9-tailed celestial fox walked through the air, her speed extremely fast. Going directly through the air was obviously much faster than taking the mountain paths. Although he could see that lake area from here, the distance was still quite far. Wow, Fluffy, so comfortable. Look, there's also a big tail. There are 9 of them. Ha ha ha. This fox looks much better than that skeleton. Exactly, with such a good-looking fox, you actually kept hiding it and didn't bring it out. Are you trying to hide it secretly and not let us know? Too bad. Listening to the chattering of the Calamity spirits, Lin Xiao felt speechless. He ignored them and glanced at the 9-tailed celestial fox, noticing that she did not seem to care. It was not that she did not care. He discovered that the 9-tailed celestial fox did not seem to be able to see these Calamity spirits. Recalling, it seemed the Death God Knight was the same. Could it be that only he could see them? Just as Lin Xiao was feeling curious about this, a fierce wind suddenly struck, and the 9-tailed celestial fox quickly dodged. At this moment, several abyss monsters appeared in the sky, their fierce gazes firmly locked onto Lin Xiao and his 9-tailed celestial fox. The sky was not a safe place. It was even more dangerous than the ground. Chapter 390. Lin Xiao glanced over. There were 6 illusory bee worms, not very high level, only level 60. But Lin Xiao didn't become careless because of this. The sky was never his main battlefield. Only the 9-tailed celestial fox and snow maiden doll could fight there. If he had to count, little Mo would also be one. However, he rarely used her for combat. Awoo! The nether beast, perched on Lin Xiao's head, let out a childish howl, extremely excited by the impending battle. Hungry, are we? Lin Xiao reached out and rubbed the little guy's head. then ordered the nine-tailed celestial fox to attack. The fox-tail immediately whipped out several wind blades. Along with the plump attacks, the calamity spirit playing on its tail was also sent flying. Wah wah wah! We're flying! The chattering sounds gradually faded into the distance as the wind blades swiftly eliminated several illusory bee worms. Squeak! 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 The illusory bee worms emitted piercing chirps, then raised their tails, their sharp stingers aiming at Lin Xiao and the nine-tailed celestial fox. Just as he thought they were about to fire poison needles, Lin Xiao saw several purple rays shoot over rapidly. Holy crap! Lin Xiao exclaimed. The nine-tailed celestial fox quickly dodged, simultaneously whipping out several more wind blades, completely annihilating the remaining illusory bee worms. There was no time to rest. The scent of blood emitted by the dying illusory bee worms attracted more flying abyss monsters. Tisk! Level 70 plain demon birds. Among the many abyss monsters, Lin Xiao's gaze fell on a distant abyss monster with black feathers and magic patterns etched on its body, no bigger than a fist. Plain demon birds were not only incredibly fast, but their physical strength was also terrifyingly high. Their attack method was very singular. They would crash into others at extreme speed, punching holes in them like bullets. Whoosh! A black shadow flashed by, and a bloody hole appeared on the nine-tailed celestial fox's body, with blood trickling out. The sky isn't our main territory. Be careful. As Lin Xiao warned, he summoned the Snow Maiden doll. Although forbidden curses couldn't be used easily, the Snow Maiden doll's ice power could still restrict these abyss monsters. The power of ice formed its own domain, greatly reducing the speed of the abyss monsters, while simultaneously launching attacks against them with the most ordinary means. The nine-tailed celestial fox immediately counterattacked, first targeting the plain demon bird that had just wounded it. The Snow Maiden doll also locked onto it. With their combined efforts, after taking several ice cones and wind blades, the plain demon bird exploded into a cloud of feathers scattering in the air. Under constant containment, Lin Xiao got closer and closer to the central lake area. The abyss monsters attacking him gradually decreased, and many even turned around and left upon seeing him. Be careful! There might be danger below. Lin Xiao noticed the abyss monster's hesitation and immediately warned the nine-tailed celestial fox. Abyss monsters not daring to approach could only mean two things. Either there were stronger abyss monsters ahead, or this was a forbidden area that abyss monsters dared not approach. But Lin Xiao leaned more towards the latter. Snow Maiden doll, freeze below deeper. Lin Xiao pointed to the river below and said. The Snow Maiden doll nodded, and the power of ice was immediately released. The river instantly froze, forming a large, solid land of ice. This was not only to provide him with enough footing but also to prevent attacks from water-dwelling abyss monsters. If they wanted to break through the thick ice layer, he would definitely notice. At this moment, Lin Xiao discovered that the route of the Netherworld guidance had changed, pointing straight ahead. It's really here? But why did it point to the third door before? Could it be that passing through there also leads here? Or is there some connection? Lin Xiao pondered, but for now it was best to get the equilibrium flower seed first. With the Snow Maiden doll paving the way ahead, Lin Xiao continued to delve deeper along the frozen river. The calamity spirit that had been flung away by the nine-tailed celestial fox earlier popped out again. Wow, it's cool all around. So comfortable. Is it winter? Why isn't it snowing? This seems to be the place we came to before. Chattering voices rang in Lin Xiao's ears. Despite their noisiness, they could still provide a lot of useful information. Do you remember the exact location of the equilibrium flower seed? Even though Netherworld guidance pointed the way, Lin Xiao still asked. It's right ahead. You'll know when you get there. Ah, but there's a big, long worm guarding it. It's a bit powerful. An abyss monster guarding it? Lin Xiao was not surprised by this. Puff! Suddenly, a tremendous commotion erupted from the lake ahead. A 20-meter-tall long worm covered in warty growths and eyes emerged from the water. Ah, it appeared. It's this worm. Wow! It's even uglier than before. Right? Does it get weaker the uglier it gets? As the calamity spirits discussed the abyss monster before them, Lin Xiao read the relevant information. Abyssal Gnash Netherworm. Level 80. Quality Mythical. Talents: Undying Worm Body, S. Virulent Plague, S. Magic Immune Worm Armor, S. Skills: Plague Pool, Worm Whip, Myriad Devouring Bite. Description: the most terrifying creature in the Abyss Great Canyon. Wherever it resides is a forbidden area. None who behold its form have ever returned alive. Level 80? Lin Xiao was stunned. If it were around level 70, he could deal with it. Above level 75, he could block it without holding back, but level 80, unless he summoned the evil dragon or used the power of the evil god. Otherwise, there was really nothing he could do. And the most abnormal thing was that the Abyssal Gnash Netherworm also had 80% magic immunity. A forbidden curse would probably just tickle it. Roar! All the eyes on the Abyssal Gnash Netherworm simultaneously glared, firmly locking onto Lin Xiao. Then, a tentacle broke through the ice and violently whipped towards Lin Xiao. Clang! The talent triggered, and the Death God Knight immediately appeared, blocking the Abyssal Gnash Netherworm's attack. Retreat first. Lin Xiao did not linger in battle but chose to quickly evacuate the area. A level 80 abyss monster, even if he were fully prepared, he might not be able to defeat it, let alone without any preparation. Seeing Lin Xiao about to retreat, the Abyssal Gnash Netherworm naturally wouldn't let him leave so easily. Its tentacles blocked his retreat, directly whipping towards everyone. Lin Xiao didn't dodge, recalling all his summoned beasts, then activated the effect of his evil dragon equipment, dodging with a slide tackle. Although I can't beat you, it's not so easy for you to keep me either. Without the slightest hesitation, Lin Xiao used all his strength to dart out, directly leaving the lake area. Only after confirming that the Abyssal Gnash Netherworm could no longer reach him did Lin Xiao stop. He couldn't help but frown. This is troublesome now. Chapter 391. Although the Abyssal Gnash Netherworm was difficult to deal with, it was still much better than facing 3 or 4 Archdukes of Demons. Is there any way to bypass this Abyssal Gnash Netherworm? Lin Xiao looked at the calamity spirits beside him. Since they had been here before and even eaten equilibrium flower seeds, there must be a way. Otherwise, with their small bodies, coming here would just be extra food for the Abyssal Gnash Netherworm. Bypass? We can't bypass it. One calamity spirit landed on Lin Xiao's shoulder and said, Lin Xiao, didn't you eat the equilibrium flower seeds back then? Yes, it moved aside on its own. Moved aside on its own? Lin Xiao was stunned. You wanted to eat, and then the Abyssal Gnash Netherworm obediently moved out of the way? Yes. Actually, the big bug wanted to eat too. That's why it moved. The calamity spirit corrected its statement. Lin Xiao, although it felt a bit absurd, from the calamity spirit's words, their relationship with the Abyssal Gnash Netherworm seemed quite good. Can you go and ask the Abyssal Gnash Netherworm to move aside, and after we get the equilibrium flower seeds, we'll share them among us? Lin Xiao tentatively asked. Maybe not. Definitely not. So much time has passed, it definitely won't recognize us. Right? And it's become so ugly. Lin Xiao. Then besides getting the Abyssal Gnash Netherworm to move, is there any other way to bypass it? The calamity spirit shook its head. No, if you want the equilibrium flower seeds, you definitely can't bypass this big bug. Why? Because the equilibrium flower seeds are right under the big bug's butt. Lin Xiao. He finally understood what the calamity spirit meant by move. It turned out to be getting the Abyssal Gnash Netherworm to shift its position, not to clear a path. The equilibrium flower seeds being under the Abyssal Gnash Netherworm was the most despairing news Lin Xiao had ever heard. It meant that there was no way to bypass the Abyssal Gnash Netherworm. He could only deal with it to obtain the equilibrium flower seeds. It seems we can only think of other ways. Just as Lin Xiao was pondering how to deal with the Abyssal Gnash Netherworm, on the other side of the Abyss Canyon, the woman had already arrived at the last door. The 3 Archdukes of Hell had long been waiting there. The Grand Duke of Fear released endless terror, staring directly at the woman in front of him, and coldly said, Knowing we are here and still daring to come, I have to admire your courage. Grand Duke Zhou Yuan's curse power also silently spread. He coldly spoke, I don't know how you obtained power from the stone statue. Hand over the powers of Nether and Calamity, and tell us who is behind you. Otherwise, you won't leave here today. The Grand Duke of Nightmare Demon didn't finish speaking, his black robe fluttering in the wind, and the killing intent he released indicated his stance. The woman stared directly at the three archdukes of hell, without the slightest fear in her eyes. She coldly said, 3 people, 2 powers. Are you dividing it too unfairly? Grand Duke of Fear. That's not something you need to consider. Grand Duke of Nightmare Demon. How to distribute it is a matter between the 3 of us. You just need to hand over the power. The woman made no move and continued, How about this? I'll go in and get the power of Void. There happen to be 3 of them, so the 3 of you can divide them equally. The Grand Duke of Fear and the other 2 frowned. Did she mean to give them the divine power? Grand Duke Zhou Yuan snorted, Humph. Do you really think we're 3-year-olds? Not a word you say can be trusted. Woman. Then how about this? I'll give one of them to you first, and then I'll go in and retrieve the last one for you to share equally. Give one first? The 3 archdukes of Hell's hearts tightened. They exchanged glances, all wanting to obtain the divine power first. As long as they obtained it first, they would definitely have an advantage. Who the remaining 2 divine powers would belong to would be hard to say. Foolish instigation. Do you think we'll believe your words? The Grand Duke of Fear was the first to break the silence. We'll go in with you. After you get it, hand it directly to us. The woman smiled slightly. No problem. Grand Duke Zhou Yuan's eyes flickered with uncertainty. He always felt that this agreement was too easy. He had originally intended to come directly and kill this woman, but she had saved her life with just a few words. The stone door was pushed open, and an ancient aura permeated out. Grand Duke of Fear. You go first. The woman walked in directly, followed closely by the 3 archdukes of Hell. The rat-headed demon did not follow. Upon seeing the 3 archdukes of Hell, he had long since peed himself, collapsed on the ground, and was twitching uncontrollably. The 3 archdukes of Hell were constantly vigilant. Having climbed to their positions, they were naturally not fools. The opponent agreeing so easily surely had other motives behind it, but they had absolute confidence in their own strength. Even if there were schemes, they could easily handle them. In the face of absolute strength, any scheme is just a joke. Soon, they arrived in front of the stone statue. Their bodies trembled as they felt the desolation around them, but they quickly broke free from the influence of the stone statue's power. Suddenly, to the surprise of the 3, the power of the void god's stone statue twisted together into a vortex, then condensed into a bead that fell to the ground. It actually succeeded. She actually seized the power of the stone statue. The 3 archdukes of Hell knew she could seize the power of the stone statue, but seeing it with their own eyes still left them incredulous. After all, many years ago they had also tried, but without exception they all failed. Over time, they gave up on the idea. At this moment, the Grand Duke of Nightmare Demon reacted very quickly and swiftly picked up the bead on the ground. The Grand Duke of Fear and Grand Duke Zhou Yuan were startled and immediately attacked. They chose not to contend with the Grand Duke of Nightmare Demon, but instead attacked the woman together. It was more convenient to snatch it from the woman than to contend with the Grand Duke of Nightmare Demon. The woman retreated rapidly, throwing the 2 beads she had previously obtained towards the Grand Duke of Fear. The Grand Duke of Fear was delighted, no longer bothering with the woman. He quickly put the beads into his pocket. But at this moment, Grand Duke Zhou Yuan's attack arrived. Hand it over. The Grand Duke of Fear snorted coldly. How could such a treasure be easily handed over? He immediately launched a counterattack. The strength of the 3 archdukes of Hell was already evenly matched, so it was really hard to say who would win. But Grand Duke Zhou Yuan was no fool. He didn't directly clash with the Archduke of Demons, but instead shouted at the Grand Duke of Nightmare Demon, He took 2. The Grand Duke of Nightmare Demon immediately understood what he meant. Equal distribution with the Grand Duke of Fear is the best choice. You don't want us to team up against you, do you? Not to mention you're still injured, and then you won't get even one. This was not a threat, but plain truth. The forces of the abyss were originally in a state of three-way balance. If one person's strength surpassed the others, it would absolutely not be allowed. So, he naturally couldn't let the Grand Duke of Fear take two divine powers. I said we'd share equally, so I definitely won't go back on my word. The Grand Duke of Fear glanced, kept the nether bead, and threw out the calamity bead. Grand Duke Zhou Yuan caught it, glanced at it, snorted, and put it away. All right, the items have been distributed. It's time to deal with that woman. They had obtained what they wanted, and with such a good opportunity, they naturally wouldn't let the woman go. But they looked around and found that the woman had long since disappeared. Boom! Suddenly, the cave vibrated violently, and a strange power locked them in. Not good. It's a trap. Humph. I already expected it. Do you really think we're made of mud? Ridiculous scheme. Chapter 392. Lin Xiao pondered how to kill the abyssal Nash netherworm based on his current situation. During this time, he re-entered the lake waters several times to understand its abilities and skills. Know yourself and your enemy, and you will never be defeated. There was a significant level gap between the two, and if he didn't understand the situation clearly, he could easily suffer losses. I've learned enough. If I can't beat it, I'll have to run away and try again when I reach level 70. Lin Xiao was ready to give it his all. If he couldn't win, he would come back after leveling up. The abyss monster here gives a lot of experience. Reaching level 70 would probably take about a month. Of course, using the evil dragon to deal with it was not part of his plan. He tricked him last time, so it probably wouldn't work this time. Calling him out would only cause trouble for himself. Looking towards the other side of the abyss Great Canyon, Lin Xiao was waiting for something. Counting the time, they should be fighting by now. As long as they're fighting, they won't have time to worry about this side, so I won't have to hold back. After preparing everything, Lin Xiao was still waiting for an opportunity. Not long after, violent tremors came from the mountainside on the other side of the abyss Great Canyon, and the space buzzed with vibrations. They've unleashed their ultimates. I must also seize the time. Lin Xiao immediately set off. The Snow Maiden doll immediately released an ice path, quickly forming a direct route towards the abyssal Nash netherworm in the lake waters. Slime, Snow Maiden doll, prepare the forbidden curse, Lin Xiao shouted. Although the abyssal Nash netherworm had magic damage reduction, the forbidden curse was one of his strongest attack methods. He would deal as much damage as possible. At worst, he'd just cast a few more forbidden curses. The lucky spirit was summoned, then duplicated using Shadow of the Green Capital, simultaneously activating the gambler talent. Afterward, Lin Xiao immediately activated the effect of the elemental fusion set, rapidly constructing an elemental domain to provide buffs for everyone. Xiao Jing hovered in midair, releasing its domain, while a spirit coffin slowly rose from the ground, and the Ice and Snow Queen emerged from it. The Ice and Snow Queen frowned upon seeing the enemy they were about to face. Do you always like to play these extreme challenges? She couldn't understand why Lin Xiao, at only level 65, dared to challenge an 80-level abyss monster. This was no different from seeking death. I don't want to, but there's no other way. Hurry and prepare. Lin Xiao shrugged. If there were other options, who would want to fight this thing? The destructive aura of the forbidden curse permeated the air, rapidly condensing above the abyssal Nash netherworm's head, ready to unleash a devastating blow at any moment. Lin Xiao's only advantage now was that he could strike first, because the abyssal Nash netherworm could only stay in place and couldn't move. In other words, the abyssal Nash netherworm was just an immobile, somewhat perverse, even capable of counterattacking punching bag. Attack! Boom! At Lin Xiao's command, 15 forbidden curses simultaneously blasted towards the abyssal Nash netherworm. Various attributes intertwined, forming a terrifying elemental storm that raged. Ha! The abyssal Nash netherworm roared. With its magic resistance talent, even after being struck by 10 forbidden curses, it only suffered minor superficial injuries. Bursts of potent venom bubbles spewed out, falling onto the ice like cannonballs, instantly corroding large pits, even causing the water in the lake to boil. The corroded pits were quickly filled by the ice power released by the Snow Maiden doll. Thunder rumbled in the sky. Then one by one purple heaven tribulation divine thunder struck down, delivering destructive blows to the abyssal Nash netherworm. The Goblin Emperor held the rear, and in front of him, 65 goblins were ready to charge. Kill! With a command, the goblin army charged. The goblin warriors at the forefront quickly reached the abyssal Nash netherworm, immediately slashing with their greatswords. The abyssal Nash netherworm scoffed, swinging its tentacles at the goblins. However, the goblin formation reacted very quickly, immediately raising their shields to block the attack. But the powerful blow still killed them instantly. Taking advantage of the abyssal Nash netherworm's attack on the goblin army, the Death God Knight launched an attack, opening Hell's Gate and summoning heroic spirits. Under the blessing of the heroic spirits, the Death God Knight's power was further enhanced. Undead Slash. The scythe of the Death God slashed down fiercely, leaving a hideous wound on the abyssal Nash netherworm, from which dark green blood spurted out, accompanied by a mournful shriek. But soon, the abyssal Nash netherworm's wounds rapidly healed. Then, its numerous eyes collectively gazed at the Death God Knight. The moment they stared, the Death God Knight was hit by an invisible impact and flew out. The attack was not over. A large barrage of dense artillery fire poured down, creating terrifying explosions. The ancient mechanical ox unleashed its full output, simultaneously dispatching a large number of mechanical creations for suicidal destructive attacks. Death spread, and the surrounding domain changed again. The Death God Knight rode the undead warhorse forward, and undead creatures broke through the ice. Among them were pighead demons, rooster-headed demons, and various other abyss monsters. Mythical grade talent. Land of eternal slumber. Those killed by the Death God Knight would forever sleep in his domain, awaiting his summons. You can't move, so don't blame me for overwhelming you with numbers. Lin Xiao watched the abyssal Nash netherworm continuously suffer attacks, commanding the overall situation from the rear. The nether beast, who liked to perch on his head, also let out excited howls, even though it hadn't grown enough to participate in battle. Wow, you're really good at group fights. Yeah, who could stand that? Poor big worm. The calamity spirits also hid with Lin Xiao, exclaiming at the battle before them. Although the big worm is weaker, you're not that strong either. Be careful, it still has a big move hidden, one calamity spirit said. Just as Lin Xiao was about to ask what big move it had hidden, he heard the abyssal Nash netherworm's roar, and then saw 3 giant venom bubbles spit out. Lin Xiao was utterly shocked to see these giant venom bubbles. One venom bubble alone almost covered the entire lake, let alone 3. Wow! Here it comes. The big worm's ultimate move, Super Living Venom Cannon. Lin Xiao was startled upon hearing this. Regardless of whether the name was made up by the calamity spirit, since it was the opponent's ultimate move, it must not be simple. First, its sheer size was already terrifying enough. The giant venom bubble landed, instantly evaporating the ice surface. The remaining goblins who couldn't dodge, and the undead from the land of eternal slumber, instantly turned into gas and evaporated, without even a single cry of agony. The Death God Knight was also affected. The remaining undead warhorse took his place in death, allowing him to barely escape and quickly put distance between them. But that was just the first venom bubble. The remaining 2 fell towards Lin Xiao's side in a staggered attack. Chapter 393. The dark green sun descended, emitting a terrifying toxic aura that was enough to cover the entire lake area. What was even more terrifying was that there were 2 such suns. There's no way to dodge. Lin Xiao's expression darkened as he looked at the massive venom bubbles. With full coverage, how could he dodge? He had no choice but to take it head-on. He might be able to withstand it. After all, after completing his class awakening, he had gained half of his summoned beast's attributes, so tanking this hit was no problem. But what about the others? The Snow Maiden doll, Ice and Snow Queen, and 9-tailed celestial fox all attacked, but their strikes were instantly swallowed upon hitting the massive venom bubbles, or more accurately, evaporated. Xiao Mo. Lin Xiao quickly summoned Xiao Mo and immediately said, "Use your psychokinesis to control the 2 venom bubbles above. Can you do it?" This was the only way to break the deadlock he could think of for now. Although he had guessed before setting out that the Abyssal Nash Netherworm would have a powerful ultimate skill, he hadn't expected the range to be so exaggerated. The entire lake area was affected. If Xiao Mo couldn't stop them, he had one other method. Recall his summoned beasts to the summoning space, run away, and then try again once the skills were off cooldown. But that would have already exposed too much about himself, making it difficult to achieve such an effect if he came back next time. Xiao Mo appeared on Lin Xiao's shoulder, green psychokinesis floating all over her body. She pointed her finger into the air, and the 2 giant falling venom bubbles were enveloped by psychokinesis, hovering in midair. Good! Lin Xiao's eyes lit up, and he immediately shouted, "Hurry! Awu!" The nether beast also let out a milky, high-pitched cry in response. He didn't know how long Xiao Mo could hold on, so every minute and every second was precious. The Death God Knight, Snow Maiden Doll, Slime, Goblin Emperor, Ancient Mechanical Ox all launched their attacks immediately. Pft, pft, pft. The Abyssal Nash Netherworm spat out 3 more giant venom bubbles. There's more! Lin Xiao was startled. As the giant venom bubbles were spat out, Xiao Mo's psychokinesis had already enveloped them, preventing them from coming closer. She then manipulated these giant venom bubbles to move towards the other side of the Abyss Great Canyon. Roar! The Abyssal Nash Netherworm let out an angry roar, and more than half of the Abyss Great Canyon trembled because of it. Realizing that its moves could not threaten the enemies before it, the Abyssal Nash Netherworm immediately swung its tentacles, lashing out at the Death God Knight and the others. Subsequently, venomous spikes erupted from the ground, launching a sneak attack. Countless hell creatures and undead were killed or injured, but that didn't matter. After all, they were just being used as cannon fodder to block the Abyssal Nash Netherworm's attacks. The Abyssal Nash Netherworm had sustained quite a few injuries. Even with its high-intensity magic resistance, the Forbidden Curse had caused it significant damage, as long as the number of attacks was high enough. A venom bubble landed in the Abyss Great Canyon, instantly forming a withered area where all signs of life vanished completely. Wow, that's terrifying. But isn't the range a bit smaller than before? Yes, it's not as powerful anymore. The big bug has gotten weaker. The Calamity Spirits were making snide remarks on the side, while the battle between Lin Xiao and the Abyssal Nash Netherworm had reached a fever pitch. The Ice and Snow Queen made a mistake and was instantly killed by the Abyssal Nash Netherworm, returning to the spirit coffin to resurrect. The Ancient Mechanical Ox also suffered damage to several parts. It had a massive body, and the Abyssal Nash Netherworm's attacks were fast and fierce, making it almost impossible to dodge completely. Both the Death God Knight and the Snow Maiden Doll sustained injuries, but it wasn't a major problem. Crack! The Snow Maiden Doll unleashed a forbidden curse, and the Abyssal Nash Netherworm was finally frozen for once. It was because of the mythical grade talent Leaving God. Good chance. Taking advantage of the gap while the Abyssal Nash Netherworm couldn't move, the Death God Knight and the others launched a fierce attack. By the time it broke free from the Leaving God effect, the Abyssal Nash Netherworm was already covered in wounds, and its HP was reduced to only 1/3. Wow, you're actually so strong. Even though you're weaker than the big bug, you're actually able to beat him. It must be because the big bug has become weaker than him. How could that be? It must be that he is weaker. No, it's the big bug. You idiot. Can't you even tell that? Ah. You called me an idiot again when clearly you're the idiot. Listening to these guys arguing again, Lin Xiao was just about to tell them to shut up when he suddenly heard a Calamity Spirit say, "It's coming! It's coming!" Lin Xiao's heart tightened. While reminding the Death God Knight and others to be careful, he quickly asked the Calamity Spirit, "Does the Abyssal Nash Netherworm have another ultimate skill?" "No, it's the other one." "Oh? The other one?" Lin Xiao was stunned. "You mean there's more than one Abyssal Nash Netherworm?" "Yeah, one above, one below. It's to prevent anyone from sneaking in underwater to steal the Equilibrium Flower Seed." "That's what I guess." Why didn't you say so earlier? Lin Xiao roared. The calamity spirit was scared and quickly hid behind the other calamity spirits. You didn't ask. Rumble. Violent vibrations came from beneath the ice. Through the thick layer of ice, a giant figure could be seen writhing underwater, looking somewhat similar to the abyssal Nash netherworm. There's another one. Lin Xiao's expression sank. Dealing with one abyssal Nash netherworm had already exhausted almost all his strength. How could he have the energy left to deal with another one? The ice layer was broken through, and the other abyssal Nash netherworm emerged from underwater. It was an 80th level abyss monster. Snow Maiden doll, you guys hold it off first. Death God Knight. Quickly finish off that abyssal Nash netherworm. Lin Xiao quickly calmed down and issued orders rapidly. Regardless, he had to deal with one of the abyssal Nash netherworms first. As long as he could take down one of them and trigger the Death God Knight's talent, dealing with the remaining one would be much simpler. He was just worried that the Snow Maiden doll and the others wouldn't be able to stall until then. Subsequently, Lin Xiao summoned the Spider Prince. He hadn't participated in the previous battle. After all, the Spider Prince was an assassin-type summoned beast, and it was difficult for him to be effective in this kind of battle. But now it was different. From the Calamity Spirit's words, he learned that the Equilibrium Flower Seed could also be stolen sneakily from underwater. The other abyssal Nash netherworm, which should have been guarding the water, had now run out. It must have seen that the abyssal Nash netherworm above couldn't hold on, which was why it ran out. But this also gave Lin Xiao an opportunity. Be careful. Yes. The Spider Prince dove into the water without hesitation. Although being in the water would cause his speed to slow down significantly, which was very dangerous for an assassin, the current situation was even worse, and he had no choice but to do this. Even if it didn't work out, it could divert the abyssal Nash netherworm's attention and buy time for his other companions to secure a kill. The Spider Prince moved forward. Because this was the abyssal Nash netherworm's territory, there were very few abyss monsters around. Although there was no netherworld guidance to point the way, the location of the Equilibrium Flower Seed was very conspicuous. It was directly beneath the abyssal Nash netherworm, so it was easy to find the direction. Sizzle, sizzle, sizzle. Wisps of white smoke rose from the Spider Prince's body. The toxins in the water were corroding and burning his skin. It was the massive venom bubbles from earlier that had made this place even more terrifying. But the Spider Prince didn't retreat in the slightest, cautiously approaching the area beneath the abyssal Nash netherworm, gradually getting closer.